Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture series on thermodynamics. This is series 1 and let's go through the terminology and some basic concepts which are used in thermodynamics. Terms used in thermodynamics. First of all, let's understand the thermodynamics. We all know that physics is a branch of science. Like physics, which is a branch of science, thermodynamics is a branch of physics. Thermo means heat, dynamics means motion. So in this chapter of thermodynamics, to be very simple, we are just looking at the transfer of heat or motion of heat. So basically, thermodynamics is that branch of physics which deals with the transformation of heat energy into mechanical energy and vice versa. Thermodynamics not only deals with the transformation of heat energy into mechanical energy, but also deals with the transformation of heat energy into other types of energies like light energy, electrical energy, chemical energy, etc. Thermodynamics is of course broadly divided into two parts. The first part deals with the relationship between different types of energies based on the first law of thermodynamics. And the second part deals with the direction in which the energy changes takes place. That is the direction of heat transfer. This is based on second law of thermodynamics. Now let's see some basic terms which we are using in this thermodynamics chapter. Heat. We all know that heat is a form of energy. It is the energy in transit, that is energy in motion. Heat always flows from a body of high temperature to a body of low temperature. That is, heat flows from a hot body to cold body. Suppose, let us take two bodies, body A and body B. The body A is at temperature T1, body B is at temperature T2. That is, this is hot body and this is cold body. This process of heat transfer takes place until the temperature of these two bodies become equal. That is, T1 becomes equal to T2. Then there will not be any heat transfer. Then these two bodies are said to be in a state which is known as thermal equilibrium state. So next comes the thermal equilibrium. While defining heat, we have come across the word thermal equilibrium. So what exactly is thermal equilibrium? A system is said to be in thermal equilibrium if no heat flows from one part of the system to another. That is, when the temperature remains constant throughout in all parts of the system, then we can say it to be in thermal equilibrium state. This can be well understood with the help of a simple example. If we leave a spoon in a cup of coffee, then what happens? This coffee gets cooled and the spoon heats up until they are at equal temperatures. Then they are said to be in thermal equilibrium. There will be no further flow of heat and the two systems are at the same temperature. Then they are said to be in thermal equilibrium when there is no resultant flow of heat. Next comes the temperature. So while defining thermal equilibrium, we have come across the word temperature. So what exactly is temperature? Temperature is a physical parameter or physical property of matter that quantitatively expresses hot or cold. Of course, it is the manifestation of thermal energy which is present in all matter. Now, one has to be careful when defining temperature. We should not get confused with the definition of heat. We all know that heat is a form of energy in motion. Of course, temperature is something different. I would like to propose the following informal definition. Temperature is a measure of degree of hotness or coldness of a body. To be more specific, in terms of thermal equilibrium, it is defined as the physical quantity which decides whether the two systems are in thermal equilibrium or not. So thermal equilibrium is the temperature is the physical parameter which decides whether the two systems are in thermal equilibrium or not. Next, let's see the basic terms which we'll be frequently using in the chapter of thermodynamics, system and surroundings. So previously, while explaining heat, temperature, we were using the words body. Now, from now onwards, we should not use the words body. We should use the system. Instead of body, we have to use the system. Now, let's try to understand what exactly is system. Now, coming to system, a definite quantity of matter which is bounded by a closed surface constitutes a system. A definite quantity of matter bounded by a closed surface is known as a system. A best example for a system is a gas contained in a cylinder with a movable piston. This constitutes a system. Now, coming to the surroundings. All those things which are outside the system and which influence their behavior on the system is known as surroundings. Both the system and surroundings are arbitrary. That is, the system for one person may be a surrounding for another person, and the surrounding for one person may become a system for another person. So, both the system and surroundings are arbitrary. Next, we know that generally there are three types of systems: open system, closed system, isolated system. Coming to the open system, these are the systems where there is exchange of matter as well as energy. That is, both the energy and matter will exchange of energy and matter will take place. This can be well explained with the help of a simple example. Suppose if we take a water in a vessel and allow it to boil, then there will be exchange of heat energy. When the water starts boiling, it gets converted into vapor and comes out in the form of vapor. So this vapor is nothing but the matter. So there is exchange of energy and exchange of matter between the system and the surroundings. So this is the case of open system. Coming to the closed system. Closed system refers to those where there is only exchange of energy with the surroundings and there is no exchange of matter. This can, with the help of a simple example, we can explain a closed system. The best example for this is a closed bottle of water in the refrigerator. Now, if we keep a closed bottle of water in the refrigerator, then what happens? The quantity of water in the bottle remains same. However, it loses energy to the surroundings, as a result of which the temperature of water inside it goes down. So this will be the example for closed system. Coming to the isolated system. This is another type of system where there is neither exchange of energy nor matter between the system and the surroundings. The best example for an isolated system would be a thermos flask. We all see the temperature of or the coffee in a thermos flask remains hot for a quite longer period. Now, we have already studied open, closed and isolated systems. Now, all put together, you can see it in a single slide. In the case of an open system, there is both exchange of energy and matter between the system and surroundings. While in the case of a closed system, there is only exchange of energy and there is no exchange of matter between the system and the surroundings. Similarly, in the case of an isolated system, we can see there is neither exchange of energy nor exchange of matter between the system and the surroundings. Next. These open, closed and isolated systems with examples can be seen here. So an open system can exchange mass and energy, usually in the form of heat, with its surroundings. This is heat energy and this is the matter. So there is exchange of energy as exchange of matter. Coming to the closed system, it allows the transfer of energy but not the mass. Only heat energy can enter into the system and come out of the system, but there cannot be any exchange of mass because it is closed. Now coming to the isolated system, since it is thermos, now there is neither exchange of energy nor exchange of mass between the system and the surroundings. Next comes the thermodynamic variables or thermodynamic coordinates. Now we have already understood what is meant by a system. So what is a system? A system is nothing but a definite quantity of matter bounded by a closed surface. Now, in order to describe the state of this system, we require three physical parameters: temperature T, pressure P, and volume V. These three physical parameters, temperature T, pressure P, and volume V, which are used to describe the state of a system, are known as thermodynamic variables or thermodynamic coordinates. Next comes thermodynamic equilibrium. Here one should not get confused with thermal equilibrium. We have already explained thermal equilibrium as the state where the temperature remains constant. Here we are going to discuss thermodynamic equilibrium. First, let's understand what is equilibrium. Equilibrium is nothing but a state of balance. And in an equilibrium state, there are no unbalanced potentials or driving forces within the system. This thermodynamics mainly deals with the equilibrium states. These equilibrium states are thermal equilibrium, mechanical equilibrium, and chemical equilibrium. So, the thermodynamic equilibrium can be defined as a system is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium if it is in thermal, mechanical, and chemical equilibrium states. The first one is thermal equilibrium. If the temperature is same throughout the entire system, then we can say it to be in thermal equilibrium. Then mechanical equilibrium. If there is no change in pressure at any point of the system with time, then we can say it to be in mechanical equilibrium. Coming to the chemical equilibrium. If the chemical composition of the system does not change with time, that is, if no chemical reaction takes place, then we can say it to be in chemical equilibrium. So, for a system to be in thermodynamically equilibrium state, it should be in thermal equilibrium state, it should be in mechanical equilibrium state, and it should be in chemical equilibrium state. Hope you have followed some of the basic definitions and terminology which we use in thermodynamics. In the next series, we will go through some other basic concepts. Thank you.